Chelsea, you can be the greatest of all time.
Chelsea corner, which got a flick and drops in! And the 10 Blues boys lead! Chalobah flexes his muscle! A short Chelsea breakthrough against the Premier League leaders! Saka, terrific Cucurella. It's Saka's cross, Merino's in there! And the Gunners strike back!
Well, how valuable have his goals been for Arsenal? That goal came with half an hour still to go against Chelsea's 10, but Arsenal couldn't find the winner. Reece James played such a big part in that. Let's get his views on the 90 minutes now with Patrick Davison.
Reece, well played. A real battle of a London derby. That you're pretty proud on the whole of the way you pushed them to the limit today.
Yeah, it's obviously disappointing, to come away with only 1 point. We went down to 10 men pretty early in the game, and that made it difficult. I felt, we had a lot more of the ball when it was 11v11, and going down to 10 made it more difficult.
Yeah, God, that really says something that you stood here disappointed against a team like that, given that they had that man advantage for so long. Does that tell you about the progress you've made? No,
I think everyone can see, where we are, what we are fighting for. I think today was, a big statement. Even though we wanted to win, there's lots of positives to take from that. How
were you able to give them so many problems tactically in that first sort of 30-40 minutes before obviously Caicedo got the red card? No, we worked hard. There's a lot of analysis and hard work from the managing staff that sets us up the right way and wants us to play and perform in a certain way that he thinks will hurt them. Physically, in that midfield particularly, did it feel like a game on the edge? Looking from the sideline, it almost felt like a red card was maybe inevitable in that match. I mean, if you look at the amount of yellows there were, I thought there was going to be one more red. There was so many. Even after Caicedo, yeah. Yeah, there was maybe 7 or 8 players on yellows throughout both teams. Why do you think that was? Oh, it's a London derby. Right. Everyone wants to win this game. Is daft question. Yeah. How did you enjoy the battle in that midfield? There was a time where it was, maybe last season, unusual to see you in there, but now, look, I'm going to give you the Player of the Match award in a minute or two. So you're able to match top players and run a game now. No, I think Arsenal are, they've been at the top for the last few years. Playing them is, we knew it wasn't going to be easy, and no, their midfield is tough, but we done what we could today and tried to play our game and hurt them off the ball. Yeah. Did you get a view of the red card for Moises? No, I haven't seen it back, so no, I have no comment on that. Fine. What did the manager say at half time about reshaping you? No, he changed, the formation slightly. We knew we wasn't, going to have the ball as much, and they was going to come, and we had to, soak up the pressure and try and catch them, on the counter, which we did a few times, but we didn't have the final touches. Yeah, and as you said already, though, despite the disappointment, a statement performance matching them like that. Yeah, I think I'm proud of the boys. It was electric. Here at Stamford Bridge today, and we take a point and move forward. Well done, Reece. You are, as I said earlier, the player of the match. Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Well done, mate. Yes, well done to Reece James, player of the match today. How pleased can Chelsea be with that performance, and how pleased can Reece James be with his own performance today?
I think firstly for Chelsea, they'll be very pleased. I think the manager will be in that dressing room congratulating the players for sticking to the task and understanding it was a naive tackle by Caicedo, but how focused they were to ensure that Arsenal weren't going to get clear chances. They worked tirelessly as a team. Everybody, every last one of them gave absolutely everything, and that's what it's all about. In order to be successful, you've got to sacrifice yourself as an attacker, for sure. When you've got 10 men, it's important for you as one of the attackers to not necessarily think about scoring goals, and usually you'd reserve your energy to score goals, whereas in this case you reserve your energy to defend and ensure that you're making it difficult for the opposition. As for Reece James, I mean, we're talking about a player who's been in the first team environment now for many years and has become a senior player for this group. He's been at the club nearly 20 years and struggled with injuries throughout his career, specifically over the last couple of years. But there's no doubt he's an absolutely unbelievable football player. The versatility he brings to this team, the set pieces that he can bring, he's got all the tools to be able to play in midfield and to play right back. He was an absolute beast today. Gave him so much running power in midfield. It was a very, very experienced and professional performance from him, and he played very, very well.
We were saying, Theo, there aren't many players with England who play in one position for their club and another for their country.
Yes, it's brilliant.
Unique right now.
It's very unique, and as well, it's a great, not problem, but it's another option that obviously Thomas Tuchel can have in certain games, because his delivery itself, set pieces, which are so important for a lot of clubs and a lot of national teams these days. But what I'm really pleased to see in his development is his growth and his leadership skills, because he's obviously been questioned in the past about is he a leader, is he a captain? He clearly is on today's performance. You're playing against Declan Rice and they have Caicedo next to him, and he's player of the match. For me, looking at the Arsenal sense, they'd be disappointed and they didn't test him enough. But like, he was absolutely outstanding today. He really was, from start to finish.
The game was really in the balance, wasn't it? I suppose the sense was that Arsenal were going to push for a winning goal, having equalised with half an hour to go. We had to wait, really, Theo, until the last seconds of the game for this moment. What has happened here is Gyökeres surely has got to be screaming at Timber to get out of the way of that.
This is when you get desperate towards the end of games and you want to obviously commit loads of bodies forward. You always feel, though, if a right back's in this position, I would be asking questions Gyökeres now. I'll be pulling him and just saying, look, this is my space. This is why I'm on the pitch. But look, he's been doing it all season, but just, yeah, he'd be disappointed with that. Gyökeres, yes, I think he would have been calling it. There's no doubt of that. I think we wouldn't see that. But it just annoys me when players are just out of position. But like, I understand why Arsenal committed so many bodies, but that's what they faced today, and it was disappointing on their side.
Was that a late let-off for Chelsea?
Very much so. You know, I'm there thinking, Timber! And I'm like, all of a sudden, it's like, you better move. Like, you know, I need to be the guy coming on the pitch and attacking this thing, and you're thinking to yourself, bro, just move out the way.
But Gyökeres is sometimes too nice, I think. He'd have been fuming. He'd have been fuming about that. Of course, you're going home thinking to yourself, I want to say something to him, you know, but you know what? He was in my spot. And at the end of the day, he got the leap, he had the power, the connection was all off.
Would have been some story, wouldn't it, for Gyökeres back from injury, coming off the bench, and that was just going to be his moment to win the game for Arsenal in these late stages. It didn't happen. And I suppose Arsenal were favourites, really, Theo, after that red card in the first half to Moises Caicedo. Daniel spoke at half-time about it looking more like a red card once it is slowed down. When you saw it first time, did you think red straight away?
No, not initially, because I felt the referee actually continued to play the game. In that sense, if you think it's a red card, you're quick to react in that position, because considering this is one of the best referees in the Premier League. He's
actually got a really good view of it, probably better than anyone.
And like Daniel was saying at half-time, the delay, where he's obviously got someone in his ear just trying to re-referee, like we were saying, to give him a yellow, just to delay the decision so they could just really monitor it in that sense. I think that's the problem with VAR. I think you need to initially go with your initial decision straight away, and then you can obviously react in that sense. But I just think the fact he's delayed it and allowed the game to continue. Normally red card, you see it straight, red card. So, look, I think the right decision was made.
Because the game actually played on, didn't it, down towards this end in front of us. He might have wanted to see what happened in the rest of that phase of play. And then he pulled out a yellow card almost to mark it, didn't he?
Yeah, no, to mark obviously what he was going to commit to. But look, I just think Caicedo does not need to be doing that in that position anyway. You know, we could speak about VAR and all that side of things. However, I think Caicedo is the one who you kind of felt it was coming from his initial start of the game. I felt that was going that way.
And the question we have to, you know, what the VAR said watching it was the straight leg is key, Daniel. Excessive force as well used in that moment. You agree with that?
Yeah, it is almost like a little jump into it, and that's probably what it is. You can see the force is strong. It almost, if he doesn't pull his leg away, it could have been a lot worse. And
because of those two factors I mentioned, therefore endangering the opponent as well.
Yeah, and it looks like it, to be honest. You know, you wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of one of those challenges. Caicedo's a top-class football player, and he'll be absolutely fuming with himself right now, knowing that he's made a big mistake that's going to cost his team in terms of his availability moving forward. And
their fourth red card of the season, twice as many as any other team at this stage, which is not ideal 13 games into a season when you are potentially pushing on for a title. Having said all that, they still managed to find a way to get themselves in front. Did that come as a surprise at the start of the second half?
It did, I think, for everyone in the arena, how loud they screamed. You know, it was a magnificent cross into the box. The connection from Chalobah, who again I thought was brilliant today. And adding those goals to a game, you know, in these tight situations, it's two teams who are the leaders in terms of goals from set pieces. We're used to seeing Arsenal doing things like this to the opposition, and today it's Chelsea.
The new set
showing
piece
them,
kings.
Yeah, showing them what it's all about. They've got the players in the box that can make those connections, but it's always important when, you know, we talk about how many set piece goals teams score, but I think having players who can deliver crosses like that time and time again, that is also a unique skill set. Not every team has someone who can deliver a ball right to a player and consistently do it. The repetitions that these guys are putting out, the output in terms of, you know, we're going to put it in this zone and it goes into that zone, and it's evolving. And I think specialists, we talk about long throw specialists, you know, Liam Delap's dad was one of them. Now we're seeing set piece specialists, specifically corner guys, and it's like we're seeing a lot more assists, less in open play and more from set pieces now.
But a details team like Arsenal would be devastated to concede in that manner by the same token, wouldn't
It will
they?
just show the fact he wants Saliba and Gabriel back as quick as possible, because I felt throughout the whole game, it's probably the most vulnerable Arsenal were. You know, at times Chelsea found it comfortable, you know, when they're attacking them in times, and there was a lot of mistakes from the centre-halves as well at times. No one really showed the leadership skills in that sense to get control of the players and the play, and it didn't look as organised. And I think that would be the worry looking in an Arsenal sense. But look, it's a point which, yes, you look back at it now, you would have taken it, of course. However, they'd be disappointed they conceded from a set piece, and it's a bit of their own medicine, isn't it?